Hi guys, Miss Crystal here again. I just finished with the rest of my wet process clay. So if you haven't been following me, then that's a shame, but you can go back and watch the other videos. I've been processing raw clay. Raw clay is what you find in nature. You might even find some in your backyard, but I'm not going to dig in my own backyard. Just saying. But let me show you what I have so far. So I've wet processed. This is drying right now. It was really wet, but these plaster bats help it dry out really fast. If you're interested in doing this, you don't have to use plaster bats. You could use all sorts of things. A big rock. You could use a board and just have it in a sunny place. I was a little concerned about my cat walking through it, but so far, no big deal. It's really actually warm out here. It's still in the morning, but whew, it's hot. So this is drying really fast. I want to keep my eye on it. If I have to leave and walk away, I probably want to, if it's really hot like it is right now, put either some loose plastic on it, even a shopping bag that you can cut up and just lay it on top. Don't squish it on top, just set it on top. So I wanted to actually show you a dry process method. Now this is going to take a bit of time, but keep in mind, if you have children and you want to entertain them and you want to keep things simple, have them go play in the mud. Just kidding. So this is actually, we're going to play in the dirt though. So I'm going to grab my bucket here, and I have some clay that I have not processed yet. And it just looks like this. It's just dry clumps. Now, one way to tell if it's a clay instead of just dirt is when you break it, it breaks off in chunks. It's not super smooth. It's kind of clumpy. But if I don't want to do the wet method for me was kind of nice because I could just kind of leave it and come back later, dump it off the top grasses and stuff and come back. So I haven't actually washed my screen yet. That's okay. I am going to use a screen. Now, if you didn't hear my last video, I told you of a story when my parents gave us an old dryer screen. It was one of the long ones. It ripped and they had to get a new one. They're like, oh, the kids will like this. I was like, yay, what do I do with it? I sifted dirt. I ground up like dry weeds. I made a kitchen, and it was part of my kitchen. It's like so fancy. But you can do this really simply. This is from the dollar store. I have another one around here somewhere that I got at Ross. It came with 2 or 3 and it's more of a bowl. But this is super simple way. It will take a little longer. Well, in the time you're actively working with it, it'll take a little longer. But if you have kids, just give them a bucket, give them a screen, and go make it an adventure. Find some dirt, and then just in the backyard, just play with it. So we're going to take and turn this down here so we can see it. Now I have a screen. It is a little bit bigger. I'm not sure where my bowl screen went. It was here, but it decided to walk away, I guess. So I'm just going to take, and you see I'm just grinding it. Now, there will be some rocks and other things in here, so I can have a separate bucket for that. But this is a station that you could have just in your backyard. If you're like a little stressed and you just need to de-stress, you can do this. Now, you can also break it up more with a rock if you want to, or like a hammer. So depending on your children, that might be fun for them to smash stuff up too. And then if you take it through, like I said, this is from the dollar store, a dollar store screen, and you can just grind it up. Now, if you're like, what do I do with the leftover stuff? And this is pretty hard clay. I'm pretty sure it's still clay. I have a bucket down here. I can dump it in my other bucket and just keep going. If you get a lot of clay, you don't have to worry about saving it as much. Whoa, look at how fast that dried. It is important, though, that this is dry when you're doing it, because if it's not dry, then it's going to be really hard to get it into the smaller pieces. Now, I could probably even take a rock or something instead of doing this with my hands. Just something that I could rub it and get all the stuff. Now, I see there's a little rock right there. Put that in my bucket. And I'm just going to keep grinding. So this is a fun and easy way to kind of get some clay processed. Now I have it in a wet bucket, but you can see that there's some nice sandy powder in there, and it wasn't hard. It's super simple. I will still have to add some temper, which is just stuff that people have always used temper in clay to make it more stiff, to make it have more longevity. I will buy clay with grog in it, which is basically the same idea. It can be made out of sand. A lot of people will use pottery that's been fired, and then let's say something didn't work, they'll break it up into a powder and they'll add that back into the clay. So it's kind of like second fired clay. You can use a lot of different stuff for this though. But a typical one that I've heard of is sand. So with the sand, um, I have some ocean sand that I could use. I may want to rinse it and let it dry first. And I don't know if you've ever used ocean sand, but it takes a few days to dry. Unless it's like super hot, then it might dry in 24 hours. Yeah, so I'm going to keep grinding away, see how much powder I can get. I'm just having fun today. It's just a chill day, and I'm just having a good time. Now, if you want to process more of this gorgeous clay, as I said, use a hammer, use a rock, but you can also use a mill. So like a corn grinder is fun. I don't know if you like, a mortar and pestle is great. Obviously don't use the nice one from your kitchen, but I like to use ones from the thrift store, because that's also a fun little thing that kids like to break stuff up, and let them use a mortar and pestle. Pour it in a bucket. If you need to, you can go back and sift through it. So that's how I'm going to try and dry process. Yes, if you want to buy me a corn grinder, I would accept it, because Andy Ward, I follow him, and he even grinds up little rocks and stuff, so he doesn't have to put quite as much temper in. I'm like, yeah, let's grind some rocks. It just sounds exciting, people. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this, and we'll see you on the flip side.